Welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside podcast, where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nonsense. I am your not-so-secret pod crush, Oscar Puente, and I'm here to tell you that it's okay to like things, and it's okay to be happy. You are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are fucking magnificent, and it is worthy of love and joy.
Still being positive, are we?
Speaking of love and joy, I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by permanent resident guest host Adam P. and super producer Ian Stimpson. Ian.
Yeah, actually, what am I talking about? I should be very, very positive, shouldn't I?
Very fucking positive.
Yeah,
We're off to Wembley.
Well,
hey ho, it's gonna go. We're off to Wembley.
As we record, we haven't played the second leg yet, but yeah, I mean, we're going in with a 4-0.
Go on.
Absolutely nothing can go wrong, Ian. Don't worry.
Nothing's ever gone wrong with people counting their chickens, has it? Was I looking at hotel rooms? Because the playoff final is the day after the night out that we always have at the end of Premier League season. The Premier League season finishes on Sunday the 28th. The League One playoff final is Monday the 29th. So yeah, I've already looked at hotel rooms. I stopped myself from actually booking. I'll do that Thursday.
Oh, you coward! Do it.
Come on. I'll do it Thursday night about the 70th minute if we're still a couple of goals up.
All right, fair enough. That's really tempting fate, is doing it during the match.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Don't worry, I'll have an in-play bet against us just to hedge. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Beating Sheffield Wednesday
Well, even before that, Ian.
What?
To get into the
playoffs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. At one point we were given a 10% chance of doing that from 5:38, and then so we needed Derby to lose and us to win, or something like Derby to draw and us to win by 3 goals, or something like that. But basically, we needed a favour. The favour we needed was from Sheffield Wednesday, who beat Derby for us, who we're now 4-0 up against in the semi-final. And,
what a way to say thanks.
Yeah, really bad, isn't it? Really bad. Because I'm watching the first leg and get a notification that Derby have had a red card, and it's only sort of 20 minutes in or whatever it was. I was like, fucking hell, down to 10 men already. Then realised it was a penalty incident. So Sheffield Wednesday had a penalty. Flick over on Sky. Brilliant. See the penalty go in. This is amazing. Sheffield Wednesday are doing their bit. Derby are losing. Peterborough go 2-0 up. It was dreamland stuff, but because Sheffield Wednesday stayed only 1-0 up, all it needed to ruin it was a Derby goal. So it was just, ended up watching as much of the Sheffield Wednesday Derby match as I did the Peterborough match.
Yeah, that's the one I watched because Peterborough wasn't on TV here.
Right, okay.
So I'm like, what the fuck happened to my life that I'm watching
Sheffield Wednesday Derby.
2 teams that I don't, no one I even know support.
Amazing. Yeah, and it was right up until the last minute, because that's how it stayed. So at any point a Derby goal could have ruined it all. But yeah, we snuck in 6th, and then to go 4-0 up in the first leg of the semi-final, it was crazy. Because Sheffield Wednesday, on paper, they are a better team than us, and they
usually on the field also.
Yeah, they finished 19 points ahead of us in the league, so it is outrageous. if we were to go up in instead of them, don't care. Brilliant. Yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, they seem to completely shit the bed. They just seem to at 2-0 up. We did not deserve really to be in front. It was a pretty even game. And there was a deflected goal and stuff. So but then they just seemed to go to pieces. They just went to far too direct football. Peterborough have learned how to defend in the last 3 or 4 matches, which is insane. And
quite useful.
Yeah,
really
right in the nick of time too.
Yeah, I mean, we won 100% of the aerial duels in defence, and that is not what Peterborough do generally. So yeah, I mean, thank you for indulging me for a moment, but yes, we go into Thursday's second leg with a lot of hope. Definitely that we will get to Wembley. So that
hope is a nice thing. Hope is beautiful, and I'm glad that you have it and you feel it in your little cold, dead English heart. It makes me so just delighted.
That feels like support. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
yeah, it is.
Compliment.
Yep. Hey, there he is. It's Adam.
Yeah.
So speaking of cold, dead hearts.
How are you feeling,
we'll get to your team later. But how are you doing besides the football, Adam? How's it going for you this week?
Yeah, I've tried not to think about the football as much as possible. So yeah, you kind of have to get over those things as much as possible. I always find it's the worst when it happens on a Sunday afternoon, because then it's just like such a terrible way to start the week. It's not ideal. But I got an Xbox, a new Xbox, and I've been consoling myself by playing Jedi Survivor, which I am very much enjoying.
I was literally playing that like a minute before it was time to record, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's time! I gotta go." How are you liking it? I'm pretty early in the story. I've just been just keep getting distracted by exploring caves and mines and stuff.
I'm really enjoying it. It's the first sort of linear, semi-open world kind of game that I've played in a while. I kind of fell out of gaming for a couple of years. So yeah, picking it back up is really enjoyable, and I've spent way too much time customizing my lightsaber and my droid.
What do you got? Talk to me about your lightsaber.
So I've got, I think it's
I'm going to head off.
Yeah. Come back in about an hour or so.
Yeah, it's customized with, it's like a white main color with gold trimmings and a pink grip.
No shit, that's almost exactly the same as mine.
Oh, really?
You guys sound like you have the most Essex lightsabers I've ever.
Yeah. Mine is white with gold and a white blade.
Okay, is she called Tracy?
Yeah. What's your preferred stance, Adam? And then we'll move on, Ian, I promise. But are you dual wielding? Are you double bladed? Are you using the blaster? What's your stance?
I sort of vary. I don't use the single at all.
Who does? Gross.
I think double. I think double blade I like the most, mainly because of the jump, like the kind of horizontal jump move that you can do.
Oh, the vortex one when you unlock it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And it's. I find I use the double bladed one for clearing out big groups of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
But when it's one-on-one, dual wielding, like Ahsoka Tano, is just like fucking dream come true, man.
Yeah. No, that is definitely very cool.
Nice. All right, Ian, you have to get this game for the boy, if nothing else.
Sorry.
Star Wars game. Get it. It's good.
Yeah, oh, right. Yeah. Still on that. Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, we'll move on. We'll kick things off as we sometimes do and used to always do around these parts, and that's with our very famous segment, Rapid Fire News. Our top story this evening, Peterborough 4, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Oh, no, sorry, we already covered that one. Yeah. All right, let's move on to something else then. Chelsea win Women's FA Cup final in front of world record 77,390 Wembley crowd. 1-0, champions, let's go. Sam Kerr scored the only goal to keep Emma Hayes' side on course for a third successive domestic double.
We'll almost definitely get more attendance than the League One playoff final. So congratulations.
Yeah, just the 77,000
to the women's game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's an amazing attendance. It just goes to show the growth of the women's game, doesn't it? I mean, it was a massive deal all over radio and TV. So good stuff, and congratulations, Oscar, on your trophy.
Yes, it is nice to have at least one of the two Chelsea teams being good, even if we don't particularly give them much attention on the podcast other than the sporadic check-in here and there. Fucking great. It's just a good time to be a Chelsea women's team fan, and it makes you wonder if maybe they should have a bigger fucking stadium every week, because if they can draw 77,000, I don't know, maybe, a medium-sized stadium would be of benefit.
Yep.
Yeah, well, there are talks of the, or in fact, I think they've recently announced the Arsenal women team have increased the amount of WSL games that they're going to be playing at the Emirates next season, which is good to see. Because I think, in fact, I know I was at the record-breaking women's North London derby this season that broke the WSL attendance record. I think it was around 50,000 or so. I might be a bit off on that one, but yeah, there's definitely scope to increase the amount of games that are being played in bigger stadiums. Like when you compare, certainly from an Arsenal women's perspective, I think they play their normal home games at the Boreham Wood ground, which is kind of obviously much smaller, much lower capacity. So I think there's definitely scope, like you say, Oscar, to kind of to increase attendances there.
Definitely. I mean, as well as clubs are doing quite well these days at The academies being integrated and even the senior teams being integrated. It would be nice to see a bit more usage of the main stadiums, because it's clear that there's an appetite for it and a growing appetite. So yeah, it would be nice to see a bit more usage, like you say.
Yeah, it is good as time progresses and society progresses to see all the old arguments against the women's game just being shown to be complete and utter bullshit. The quality is much better than the men's game in some cases.
It's just dinosaurs shouting into the void, though, isn't it? I mean, it's like they're on the wrong side of history. It will be that they can't do anything about it, which is brilliant because it's just impotent shouting into the void, which is the best kind. So yeah, you can't stop progress, lads.
No,
so
and people will move to quality. You put amazingly talented athletes on a field and let people watch them do amazingly talented things, they'll fucking tune in and do it.
Yep.
So anyway, shout out Chelsea women, shout out world record, attendance, figures, and all of the things. Speaking of Chelsea, we'll move on to our next story there. Chelsea agree terms with Mauricio Pochettino to become the new head coach. Details of the deal are expected, this is per The Athletic, are expected to be finalized in the coming days. Pochettino will start his new role in the summer. With his son, Sebastiano Pochettino, I should say, to join him at Stamford Bridge as his backroom team. Club coaches will also join the staff.
Fucking Nepo babies, Jesus Christ.
I know. Well, there's nothing that soccer likes more than a Nepo baby, to be honest with you. I'll let you guys react to this one, because I kind of spent the last time we recorded saying I don't want Pochettino, so that might be my views are fairly known. I think he's the best temp manager on the market, but I don't think that he's the best fit for Chelsea necessarily. We'll see how it goes. I'm choosing to be hopeful. But where are you guys at on this one?
It's difficult because so much of what you said the last time we spoke about how Chelsea aren't built for a project manager kind of they're like the exact antithesis of what Pochettino will need. Like, I think if you give him sort of 3-4 years, I think he could turn Chelsea into a very impressive side. And that's just looking at the players that he's got now. That's not even considering the potential investment that could happen in the future and like some of the youth players that could come through the impressive Chelsea academy. But I think if you look at the likes of like Raheem Sterling, I could see him sort of rounding some of the rough edges off of him that sort of we saw happened when he was at his peak under Guardiola. I think if you look at the midfield, there's a really decent base there. Like you've got Kovacic and Enzo. That's a decent pairing to fit in there. Pochettino likes kind of good athletic fullbacks, and you've got two of those in Chilwell and Reece James. Goalkeeper probably needs to be sorted out, and striker as well. But there's the bones there of like a talented squad. There's the raw materials for a manager who can kind of knit things together quite well. And I mean, look, we saw what he did with a far less talented Tottenham side, and I know that's in a completely different competitive environment. But
it's a dig, isn't it?
I think you should be cautiously optimistic, Oscar.
Okay, I mean, there's a big if in your assessment there, which I think everything you said is true, but the if is, can we get to the third year of Pochettino? Because there's not going to be an immediate return, right? And that's sort of my concern.
So you'll sack him?
Yeah, we'll sack him after 18 months, and then we'll start another project.
18 months?
And then
Bloody hell.
18 months is how much managers get at Chelsea. Have you not been paying attention?
On average.
Ian?
But
yes.
Lately, I don't think that's the case. So
I guess
don't
new
think he'll
ownership
even get
is...
that. But no, all I'm saying is that, I got what you were saying last week about I don't want a project manager, just want bang results, because we sack them early anyway, which obviously it's worked for Chelsea. So no one's really slagging that off because generally it's worked. But Pochettino wants to be involved in transfers. He wants to be a project manager.
Yeah.
And this is, obviously I'm just distilling it down to what you said last week. I don't know if that's what all Chelsea fans want. But he wants to be fully involved. So I don't know that you're going to get what you want. I accept that you're being positive. Obviously, I think this is probably the best manager you could maybe get under the circumstances. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of anyone.
Yeah, it's him or Nagelsmann are the two names out there right now.
Yeah.
Right. And you're a fool, Ian. All the things you said are very dumb and misguided, and a younger, dumber person maybe would have said them. But I think that it's the best possible decision. I think he's the best manager on the market. And anytime you can get an elite, talented person in your club, you got to go for it, right?
I agree.
The future is now.
I think he's the best manager you can get. I was just basing it on what you said last week that you didn't want to
I was a younger man, Ian.
Yes,
foolish and innocent.
All that time
and
ago.
wrong in his ways. Okay. It's going to be great. It's going to be perfect and great, and nothing bad can come of it.
I mean, yeah, but how much of your joy is 90% that it just rubs Tottenham fans up the wrong way?
Now, that's all of the joy.
Okay,
100%. Yeah. Ooh, yummy Tottenham tears sustaining me. Yeah. All right, let's move on then. Speaking of tears, our next story. Ivan Toney has been handed an 8-month ban by the FA over his betting offences. Brentford and England striker has been banned from all football-related activities, for 8 months over 232 betting breaches. The 27-year-old will not be able to play for his club or country until his suspension comes to an end on January 16, 2024. He is also not allowed to train until September. A statement by the FA read, Ivan Toney has been suspended, blah, 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 blah. $50,000 fine, slap on the wrist, etc., etc. What do you guys think? Fair, harsh?
Free the
Should have never been allowed to play again.
Free the Peterborough one. The way I'm still claiming Ivan Toney, even though he's not played for us for about 4 years, is just what we do.
Arsenal fans are still trying to claim Cesc Fabregas, and he, literally turned them down. Sorry, Adam. Sorry, I forgot you're here this week. I have to be nice about Arsenal. Yep, sorry.
Pretty much all of these bets were done while he was a Peterborough player. Never bet on his own matches, but it's Brentford now suffering for things he did while he was a Peterborough player. I mean, look, I knew it was going to be. Everyone knew it was going to be a long ban. The number of charges were in the hundreds. He has occasionally been, in his career, a bit of a silly boy sometimes with the things he's done. But this is possibly the stupidest because, these things always get found out. And now you've put your club in a difficult situation. Admittedly, a lot of that ban's going to be served over the summer, which is exactly what Brentford wanted, which is why the sort of equivocating has been done until... now Brentford are safe. I presume all the charges have been answered and everything's been sorted. So a lot of that, but a good chunk of that ban gets served over the summer. But it's not great for his current club, is it? Because he's very much the focal point of the attack. When he's been out, no one else has really stepped up to the plate. So not great for Brentford. And I think you've got to come down on these things harshly, because even if you're not betting on games you're involved in, obviously you know people in the game. I mean, you can't be doing this, and it is something like 200 and whatever charges. 232. It's bad, So it's a lot. You do have to come down hard on these bans. Of course, when you put it against bans that have been dished out for racism, it's you start to get into sort of iffy waters, because obviously some people have said racist things on a pitch and got 8-game bans. So 8 games to 8 months doesn't really fly, does it?
He probably should have bitten someone and been a racist, and he would have been better off.
Exactly. And then your teammates could have worn T-shirts in support of you. Well done, Liverpool. But anyway, it's not great. I think 8 months does sound harsh on the face of it, but I see why they come down hard on these things, because there has to be a genuine deterrent to this sort of thing. I don't know what his situation. I mean, will he still get paid by Brentford for these 8 months? I mean, it's something he's done. I mean, I don't know how these contracts work. Whether they get paid for the time that they're just fucking sat playing FIFA instead of FIFA's of course a football related activity, so he won't be allowed.
Is he allowed to play Rocket League though? Does that count?
That's a good question.
That's a grey area, isn't it?
I know. I did, speaking of Rocket League, because I don't really think it's that interesting to talk about the ban, and this is my podcast, so I can do what I want. I joined a recreational Rocket League for gamers over 30 for this summer, and it's the most excited I've ever been for anything in my life.
Oh, wow. A Masters Rocket League.
I know. We play Sundays at 8 or Fridays at 8 Eastern Coast time. I'm sure there's a European equivalent, Adam, if you want to look for someone.
Gotta get it done before 10. Gotta get it
done
before 10.
Yeah, gotta get it. The name of the group, you'll love this. Shout out the group. It's called Rocket League Old Farts. And I'm in the Rocket League Old Farts League.
Over 30s. That is... Oh,
ancient,
good Lord.
Ancient by gaming standards, Ian. These professional Rocket League players that I watch and am a fan of are fucking weird because they're all 15 to 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Oh, anyway.
Well, I can understand, but so I'm 39 now, despite what some people would say. And I played Call of Duty the other day, and I basically did it for a couple of minutes and then said to Finley, it's too busy, I just can't. I just gave him I can't, I'm sorry, mate, I can't do this. It's just too much going on. Is that what war's like? Because it was awful. It was really awful.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. I think maybe a bit busier, perhaps.
A bit busier, yeah.
This war, it's awful busy, isn't it?
So much going on. Can everyone just calm down a little bit? That would be great.
I couldn't really process. It was very tricky.
Yeah, it sucks losing to someone whose username ends in 2009.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck me. Like, oh, I should not be worse than you. But,
he's not financially secure, though, Oscar.
No, exactly. Fuck that guy. But can you choose what you're having for dinner, huh? I didn't think so. Oh.
Knowing you, Oscar, though, what you're having won't be a million miles away from what he's having.
It'd be dino nuggets and microwave pizza, but, I chose that, Ian. I chose it.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of children, Adam, it's time to get to it. We cannot avoid this any further. Let's get to the football. It was the big match of the week. Arsenal 0, Brighton 3. Arsenal 0.9 to Brighton's 1.7. How are you feeling, Adam, after that loss?
Oh, I'm swimming. Yeah, on top of the world, cloud 9. No, obviously, it was a little bit disappointing. I said to Ian before we started recording, I was sort of glad in a way to be put out of my misery because it was it felt a little bit like ever since since the draw to West Ham, sort of had a bit of a stay of execution of, we're sort of still in the title race. Even when we lost to Man City, there was always the chance that they might slip up in one of their games. And so I kind of had that faint, naive, foolish hope that might happen. We were just so roundly and comprehensively beaten in the second half that I almost couldn't have any complaints coming away from the game. It was one of those where your team is just so not up to the standard that was needed to win the game that I was more disappointed than angry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I'd imagine the fact that it's been such a slow process makes it hard to find a specific anger moment because anger is such a flash in the pan. Anger is such a immediate emotion, but this has been a lengthy, drawn out, just relentlessly dis-hopening, if that's a word.
Yeah.
Dis-hopening.
Dis-hopening. We can invent new words to summarise Arsenal's pain.
This episode's going to be called The Dis-hopening. Just write that.
But yeah, no, you're right. Because there wasn't that one moment of capitulation, there isn't that flashpoint for either my anger or general fan anger. I think a lot of Arsenal fans feel similar to me in that they're just a little bit sad that the season is ending this way. And that it doesn't look like we're going to be able to kind of keep City honest and keep pushing them until the end.
There's still a 1% chance. You're in a privileged position. You're the 1%,
Yeah, in many ways. But yeah, no, so it's disappointing. I mean, on the game itself, I thought Arsenal were okay for bits of the first half. But Brighton had a clear tactic just to invite our press onto them and then hoof it over the top, completely bypass our midfield and
really
effectively our defence.
Didn't it? That was the thing. It really did. Yeah,
it did. And Mitoma gave Ben White probably the toughest game I think he's had all season. He was really, really good as soon as Mitoma switched on to that left side. even without Solly March, who's been one of their better players this season, they're such a good team. They pressed us really well, and like I say, they managed to bypass like effectively half of our team. So yeah, it was a comprehensive Brighton victory, and I can't have too many complaints about the result at the end of the day.
Has something changed for you guys in the later stages of the season, or is it just kind of my general belief that it's the underlying numbers have converged towards reality?
No, I think the William Saliba injury is, I don't want to say it's the main reason, but that came in the same game that the Takehiro Tomiyasu got injured as well. So those are our two. That's our first choice centre back and one of our backup centre backs injured in the same game. And it was around the time that Eddie Nketiah was starting to kind of slow up in his form, and Jesus was only just coming back from his injury. So yeah, I think those two players, those two defenders getting injured, it just exposed our general lack of squad depth, but more specifically the lack of depth in defence, and so much of Arsenal's play is built not only on a strong defence, but on being able to build out from the back, and without having that kind of technical ability on the ball, but also the recovery pace that allows us to play a higher line. Without that, I think it was just always going to be a really, really tough ask with a second string defence, and also at the end of the day, Man City have won 11 Premier League games in a row.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're not bad at the football. So when the rival for the title does that, there's a certain element of it's kind of been taken out of your control.
Yeah, how many title races end like this with like you say, with an 11-game run? I mean, that's insane numbers for Man City. They've come good at exactly the right time. The thing that you were hoping for to keep the competition going is, one, staying away from injuries, and as you say, you got them in the similar positions, so it was very tough for you to, when you're relying on holding, as we mentioned, that's a bad position to be in. Whereas Man City have got depth in every position. They've got an amazing second 11. Forget the first 11, and that they've come into form at the right time. So it was always going to be a tough ask. And from a neutral's point of view, I'm just glad you made it last this long. But to just maybe go a bit bigger picture and take the pressure off Adam a little bit here, like what I, as a neutral, have said a few times now, that it's getting a little bit boring. But for the first time, I've noticed, and I don't know if Oscar you will have, because I don't know what the American media thing is like for football beyond the actual matches themselves. Do you know what I mean? The actual match coverage. But like, I've noticed a little bit sneaking in now of other people and the media saying this is getting a little dull now. And what do the Premier League do about this? Because the Premier League has always favoured the big clubs, done things that favour the big clubs. And, like, I don't know, it just feels like without the Premier League seriously skewing away from the big clubs to redistribute money in some way, and I don't know how that happens when you've got state-run clubs. But, like, it's the first real sneakings in I've heard in podcasts and in the written press and stuff of like, yeah, actually this is getting, the trudge towards Man City winning most seasons is getting a little bit boring now. And I don't know how this plays out, because obviously ultimately I suppose we just wait for Newcastle to win their first title. And then we wait until Man United when they're taken over by some country,
Not officially a country, Ian.
Sure. Yeah, for
Principal
legal reasons, not a country.
Investment funds are owning all the clubs.
Yeah, no, just the government who owns the fund that owns the club. Yeah, sure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, very good. Now you're getting it. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know if there was a question that I had there other than just it's creeping in other places now, and I don't know what happens. I don't know whether we literally just wait for Newcastle to win a title,
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
recommended listening. Double Pivot did a really good episode about this exact topic a couple of weeks ago. I want to say like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I'm not sure if that was on the Patreon side or the main feed.
Okay.
But either way, worth a listen if you can get it. But my general reaction to it, aside from that recommendation, is that I think that there are a lot of structural things in place that will give City a benefit to the point where they'll be getting 5 out of 6 titles sometimes, like is going to have happened these last 6 seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think that like you're not going to have Pep Guardiola. He's a generational talent, maybe even more than a generational talent, like one of the 5 best managers of all time, ?
Surely.
And so like that on top of infinite resources is going to lead to periods like this, where it really is just the City dominating and who can maybe give them a fight.
Okay. That's an interesting point. So you just think the multiplier of Pep times what they've got has led to this?
Yes.
And
I think that Newcastle coming in is a little bit scarier for me, because the thing that could really destabilize this system is if it becomes a 2-team league like Spain. I don't think that I'm not afraid of us becoming Ligue 1 or the Bundesliga just because of the TV money. Like there's just yes, City have infinite money, but there's a limit on the amount that you can spend. And Chelsea are pushing that limit already, and like we're not even one of the countries, like one of the teams owned by a country, right? So like, there are enough teams rich enough to be able to sort of approximately keep up with them over the course of a single window or a few windows. And there's not a lot of Pep Guardiolas in the history of the game. You know what I mean? So like, I think that right now we're okay. I think if it becomes Newcastle and City driving prices up to the point where the other clubs cannot anymore give them a fight, that's where it becomes scary. But I think we're okay for now. I just think that they happen to have got Pep Guardiola on top of infinite money. And that's going to get you, and I think any team, if they had Pep for this long and a reasonably sized budget, like if Pep had been at Chelsea for the last 5 years, or if Pep had been at Liverpool for the last 5 years, or however many, it's been more than 5, but I think we'd be looking at a similarly ridiculous dynasty. I think that's just the Pep of it all. But eventually it won't be everyone perfect the way that it is with Pep and them all pushing in the same direction as Pep.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Adam, what do you think? Did you listen to that Double Pivot episode?
No, I didn't. But I do sort of agree. And I also think there might come a point where, like, and this will be really difficult to do because the Premier League has always styled itself as the best league and the most competitive league in the world. But
Have they?
I don't know if you've noticed it. It's very subtle brand messaging I've found. But I mean, it's all about what you enjoy when you watch the league. Like the relegation battle has been really exciting this season. So I think, as is the case, like when I watch the Bundesliga, and I don't watch it like week in, week out like a diehard fan, but I do watch it probably more regularly than the average Premier League watcher would. And there's always entertaining games. So it's all about, I think we'll just have to get to a point where if this does continue, we just have to find different things to find entertaining. A bit like, to use a comparison to a different sport, a bit like Formula One. Like this season and last season, Red Bull were kind of clearly the best team, and they ended up winning the championship really easily last season. And it looks like it's going to happen again this season. So you just have to find different, like, kind of races, different battles, up and down the kind of hierarchy of whatever sport you're watching to kind of find entertaining. And I think there is enough in football, there is enough kind of randomness, as much as Oscar might wish that it stuck so rigidly to the numbers, but there is enough of that element of randomness and an unpredictability that I think there's still enough to enjoy. Maybe I'm just saying that as the fan of, like, as like an Arsenal fan who kind of feels a little bit lucky and fortunate to have gotten into the position where we were competing for a title for so long. Like if you had have asked me last season, when do I think Arsenal will next win the league? I would have said like maybe 5-7 years, and that would have been optimistic.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's just about like your level of expectation for how competitive things are going to be, and just finding the entertainment elsewhere if you need. I realise that's kind of a little bit pessimistic.
No, I mean, I don't disagree. Like things change really fucking fast, man. You know, you talk about Arsenal, like this is a highly unexpected title run. Look in the other direction, look at us, look at Chelsea. Like less than 2 years ago, because it's not May 29th yet, we were probably the best team in the world for a few months. And like we're gonna give City a title run, and it'll be a 3-horse race. It won't just be Liverpool anymore. And, you know, how the tables turn have.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. But we should, speaking of randomness and things going against the numbers, we do have an award to give out. We don't have to talk about this one that long, but I just want to give the award for the sake of giving the award, because it's been a while since I did one of these. So, Mr. Simpson, please go ahead and cue the jingle.
Oh, they're better than they ought to be.
Burnley of the week.
We had another 3-0. It was Everton 0, Manchester City 3, Everton's 1.6 to City's 0.8. So I think it's pretty fucking hilarious that they basically clinched the title on a Burnleying. Had to throw that in there. That's all I got.
You just wanted to mention that was a Burnley.
Just wanted to mention that was a Burnleying. Everton, despite the loss, looking like they might stay up. But we'll talk more about the relegation race as the end of the season approaches. We still have a couple of weeks before I can get away with not talking about the teams down there. So that will continue. And unless you guys have anything specific to add about football, I think it's about time to bluffer.
Straight in with a bluffer.
Yeah, I knew that you wouldn't have anything to say about football. Bluffer time, bluffer time. Let's bluffer, bluff, make a bluff, do a bluff. You say numbers, and I say things, and bluffer. There it is. For the listeners, I was doing that without any music this time because Ian doesn't have his little keyboard. So I'm hearing the song in my head and trying to not line up with the notes that I'm hearing in my head.
One little keyboard, which suggests I do it live, which I'm delighted with.
Just rock out like a mini piano.
Guitar.
2, the temptation to, in the edit, leave you a cappella there is...
Please do. Oh my God, that would be so good. I would die. All right. I'm a little annoyed. I'm not going to lie to you because Chuck was going to be on this episode. He is officially back from Florida, but not quite feeling well enough to record this week. But I put in a ton of fucking work for this because I was excited. It was going to be the first time that I had 3 people playing the bluffer, not just a heads-up game. So I will be a little disappointed as we go through this. But, you know, it is what it is.
You could have saved it for next week. I'm sure we'd do a foursome next week.
How dare you suggest that? No. I did the work. We're using the thing.
Exactly.
So I have 3 categories. I'm going to pick the order of them just because why not? And we'll start with, speaking of top flight titles, and I'll throw this one to Ian first. Ian, you're yourself this week. Adam, you're Chuck.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's going to be less confusing for everybody. I have in front of me the list of teams in the history of the English top flight, not Premier League, top flight, titles, 3 or more titles. So teams that have won the top division 3 or more times. There are 14 to choose from. How many of those 14 can you name?
Right, I will go a starting bid of 4.
4. Adam, can you give me 5?
Top flight. God, I mean, Ian was around back when football began.
Hey, there it
actually
is.
began in the kind of 1700s.
I was there at the meeting when Notts County was founded.
Yeah, okay, I'll go 5.
All right, Ian, do I have 6?
Yeah, go on. I'll go 6. Yeah.
Adam, do you want to take it to 50% out of the 14? Can you name 7?
Yeah, I'll go 7.
Okay, I'll go 8. Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think I could do 9.
Ooh, Ian, you're going to have to start taking categories now that it's not just me or Chuck you're playing against.
Okay.
Can you name 8 top flight winning teams with 3 or more titles?
Manchester City.
Correct. They have 8, 5th all time.
Chelsea.
Yes, 7th all time with 6 titles.
Manchester United.
Top 20 titles.
Liverpool.
Yes, 2nd place, 19 titles.
Okay. Arsenal.
3rd place, 13 titles. Shout out Adam, good job.
So how many have I got left? 3?
3 more, yes.
Right, I'm trying to think of who I've
You've named all the double digits ones.
Okay. Everton.
Yes, Everton 4th place, 9 titles, 2 more.
Okay. I'm going to go Leeds.
Ooh, 12th place, 3 titles on the nose. Leeds. I need one more, Ian.
One more.
There is a team that has more than Chelsea that you haven't said.
Okay. I haven't said. I can't remember who I have said. That's the problem.
That's
Okay. Oh well, no, but I'll take it old school. Aston Villa.
Yes, that is the team. 7 titles, 6th place all time. Adam, do you want to throw any in there?
Yeah, no, to be honest, those were the ones that I could think of. I wouldn't even be able to make a kind of... I was Blackburn, but I don't know how many they actually won.
3, so they were on the list.
Okay.
Have they?
Yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that would be the only ones that I could relatively guess.
Sunderland and Newcastle. You could have also had Sheffield Wednesday, Netflix's own. Wolves and Huddersfield.
Very
3
good
titles.
callback. Very good callback, Oscar.
That.
Yeah, that's a shout out to people who've been listening for 4 or more years at this point. All right, next category. Adam, I'll let you pick. Do you want FPL related or pop culture related?
Let's go pop culture related.
Very good. I have in front of me the 13. I was very strategic about how many things were in these categories, given that it was going to be 3 people betting in. 13 movies that have made $1.5 billion or more dollars at the box office. This is not adjusted for inflation. This is just gross global box office, 1.5 billion or more. There are 13 to choose from. Adam, how many can you name?
And there's no caveats. This isn't Marvel films.
Nope, it's just the numbers.
I would go for 5 as a starter. That's reasonable.
Talking himself into
Yeah. Ian, 13 top grossing movies of all time. How many can you name?
Okay, I'll say 6.
I could, for the record, I had this top 10 already memorized in my head.
Of course, yeah.
So I can't give a fair assessment of whether this is a hard or easy category. It's just a thing that I know.
Okay. I'll go one more. I can do 7.
7. We got 7. Ian, can you give me 8?
I've not got enough written down to then go. No, go on, Adam. Go 7.
Ooh. Okay.
That's it's a tough category, that. I like it.
So I would go the first Avatar film.
Yes, $2.9 billion.
And then the second Avatar film, the
Yes,
Way of
third place
Water.
on the list with $2.3 billion.
I would go the first Avengers.
The first Avengers, yes, 10th place all time, $1.5 billion, exactly over the line.
Oh God. Then Avengers Endgame.
Yes, second all time, $2.8 billion in the box office.
3 more to get.
And Avengers Infinity War.
Infinity War, yes, 6th on the list, $2.0 billion.
Okay. Titanic, obviously.
Yes, $2.3 billion, 4th place all time. Or Titanic, as I used to call it. Hey!
High level stuff.
Boobies.
And I feel like this is a risky one. The Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Yes, 5th place all time, $2.1 billion. Made more than Infinity War, which I was a little bit surprised to find out. Yeah. Yeah, so you got all of it. Congratulations, you get the point, I believe.
Thank you very much.
And you got all of the top 6, plus one further down. Yeah. Ian, did you want to throw any out there?
I didn't write down anything that Adam didn't say, so
Okay.
no, I can't think. What
All right,
would
well,
fill
for
out.
those of you curious at home, I'll round out the list. 7th place all-time, Spider-Man No Way Home, $1.9 billion.
Oh, wow.
8th place all-time, Jurassic World, $1.7 billion.
Jurassic World.
Yes, Jurassic World. That's right.
of
This is
course.
not adjusted for
Yes,
inflation, so there's a
yeah,
recency
yeah,
bias. That's part of the problem with not adjusting, but I didn't want to have caveats.
No, fair enough.
9th place all-time. This one was very surprising to me, if I didn't already know it, and that is Lion King, the live-action one from 2019. Is the 9th
wow.
highest grossing of all time.
So I was just sick in my mouth. Sorry. Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, good lord.
You also had Furious 7, which as of the time of recording, the 10th one comes out in a couple...
Furious 7. This seems so random.
It's a recency bias, man. I'm telling you.
No, I know,
Adjusting
but
for inflation is
there's
great,
more recent bad Fast and Furious films. I'm just saying that to wind you up, but that just seems like
half of them are
one.
bad, half of them are good.
Fine.
12th place all time, Top Gun Maverick, the greatest movie of all time, probably, that doesn't start with Star Wars at the front of it, 1.5 billion, and Frozen 2 with 1.5 billion.
Frozen 2?
Frozen 2, not Frozen 1, Frozen 2. Inflation's a bitchy, and I don't know what to tell you.
Fucking tell me about it.
Yeah. The first Frozen was like 13 years ago now.
Right, yeah, I suppose, but it just...
So that's a lot of time for the value of a dollar to change.
I've seen Frozen... I know this wasn't the question, but I've seen Frozen 18 million times. I've seen Frozen 2
Imagine
no
if
times.
that was the question. Bluffer, how many times has Ian seen Frozen?
If it was how many times have I seen certain films, Apollo 13 would be the top, as I think we've discussed before.
Well, Ian, I think that just the thing you said before says more about the particular age of your child than it does about the state of
100%,
children's movies. Yeah. Frozen 2, very big movie,
Yeah,
apparently.
Frozen
So,
came out when he was 3. He was right in
that's
that sweet spot.
That's right in there, exactly. All right.
I think it was a burgeoning moment for his sexuality when Elsa let her hair down and he went, wow. And I went, there's your Little Mermaid moment, mate.
Yeah, oh, Little Mermaid. That's formative. Pink
Jessica
Ranger
Rabbit,
and
all of them,
Titanic,
yeah.
all good things. All right, let's take it to our last category. Let's move on from that slightly awkward topic.
The Dis-hopening cartoon sexy time.
Yep. You said it, not me. Top FPL players this season so far, 150 points or more. There are 16 players who have made that cutoff of 150 points or more. Listener, that is at the time of recording, Wednesday, May 17, 3:06 p.m. East Coast time, 8:06 p.m. UK time. So, don't at me for the Friday games. We're in the middle of a double game week. These numbers are going to change by the time you hear this. But currently, the top 16 FPL players they all have 150 points or more.
I will open at 8.
8. Starting off at the 50% mark, Ian or Adam, can you name more than half of the
thing is,
top FPL players?
I know Ian probably knows more than... I reckon he knows more than 10, so I'll go 10.
Ooh, spicy. This is going great. We got 10. Ian, do you want to lose to a child?
There it is. God, right, okay. Yeah, I'll go 11, I suppose.
Ooh, that was a hesitant 11. Adam, do you want to go 12? Do you want to lose to an old man?
Oh, I see. It works both ways. Understood.
Yep. Everyone older than me is an old man. Everyone younger than me is a child. I'm the only person here who is the right age.
The right age. The correct age.
The correct age, yes.
Which is old enough to play in a seniors Rocket League. Fucking Methuselah of
Old
Rocket League.
Old farts. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can do 12 because I know Ian would not want to be bested given he
check him
does
out.
an FPL podcast. And imagine if he got beaten by a scrub like me.
I know. Not only is he losing to you in the real game, but now he's going to lose to you in an FPL-related question.
No,
embarrassing.
Take 12, Adam. Go on. I'm not sorry. Anyone who's trying that fucking hard.
Yeah. You don't want those 12, I don't think. But let's see how this goes.
I'm pretty sure there will be 3 Arsenal players, so I can do Saka, I can go for Odegaard and Martinelli. So that's 3.
The hubris to throw 3 at the same time, assuming that you got the first one right. Honestly offensive. Yes, Saka, 7th place, 194 points. Odegaard, 207. And what was the third name you said?
Martinelli,
yes, 198. 5th place on the list. 3 down.
Okay, so then I'll go Haaland.
Yes, 1st place, 266 points.
Salah.
Yep, 229. 3rd place.
Kane.
Yes, 2nd place, 240.
Okay.
6 more.
This is harder than I thought it would
Is that 6 so far?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. De Bruyne?
Yes, 9th place, 181 points.
Oh, God, that was closer than I thought it would be. I will go... Bruno Fernandes?
Ooh.
Woo! 14th place on the list,
Oh,
155.
tasty. Well played, mate.
155.
Okay, so Bruno Fernandes is in. That means Rashford must be as well.
Yes, Rashford, 6th place on the list.
Very good.
2 more points than Saka, 196.
3 more.
There's only one player who did more than De Bruyne that you haven't said.
Ollie Watkins?
Ollie Watkins is on the list, but not better than De Bruyne, but he is 11th place, 166 points. 2 more, please.
Ivan Toney?
Yes.
I
20
think
Premier
That's
that
League
right.
was the player who's better than KDB, is it?
That is the player that's better
well
than KDB.
played.
He's got 182 points.
One more.
8th on the list.
Jesus Christ, I'm like completely tapped out.
It's tough, man. This is, you've done well.
Yeah, you hit the top 8, top 9. There's only one player in the top 10 you haven't said.
I see, I'm worried that this might be recency. I've got 2 in my mind. Can I talk you through my thinking process?
I'd go for the longer term pick, and that's all I'll say.
Fucking hell.
Okay, in that case, I will go for Trippier.
I knew it.
Yep, ding, ding, ding. 10th place on the list. Kieran Trippier with 179 points.
Very good, Adam. That was very good.
Ian, do you want to throw any more out there?
I must admit, Adam's got more than the ones I had written down. So let's have a think. You only went for defenders when you went to Trippier. Is there a goalkeeper on the list?
There are 2 keepers on the list, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Well, I assume. Oh, actually, I was trying to think. Who would you go keepers? Because
There's 2 keepers on the list, and they have both outscored Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, really?
Shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
There you go. Expensive keepers for the. Well, I assume it's an expensive keeper. Allison?
Yes, 160 points, 10th,
Ooh, good shout.
12th place on the list.
Is there another defender on the list?
There's a defender, a keeper, and I am assuming a midfielder, but maybe a forward.
Okay. Ben White?
Nope.
No.
I was surprised by the last defender on the list. I'm
It's
going to
not
be honest.
Gabriel?
No.
Would it be
fuck.
either Robertson or Alexander Arnold? They usually
It
have
is.
that.
It's Trent.
Oh, it's Trent.
Trent, yeah, 151. He just snuck over the line after those 2 goals the other day.
So who's the other attacker?
You could have had Eberechi Eze with 152
Really?
points.
Eze.
Oh, wow.
That's how much Palace have been scoring recently, remember? We didn't talk
Surgeon.
about it. And Raya, who is a goalkeeper. I don't know what team they play for, but they have 156 points.
There you go. Oh, yeah, I suppose he gets a lot of save points, doesn't he? Yeah. Wow, okay. Oh, that was fun.
Wait, did you just say Brentford?
Right, Brentford, yeah.
The Brentford keeper is outscoring Bruno Fernandes and Trent Alexander-Arnold. What a lovely note to end on.
Oh, dear. I mean, do you want to take us out again, Oscar? You did it so well.
Yes, but I once again do not have the list of names in front of me. You need to
Don't worry
send
about
me
the
that
names.
so that I have it to read. But yes, thank you for joining us. Absolutely lovely to have you all. Hope your FPL double game week is coming up nicely if you're playing hard in the run into the season. There are
I really
games...
want to beat you, Oscar. Really want to beat you.
Yeah, I've been trying. Okay, let's talk about FPL for a second, then I'll take us out. Because this is by far the best I've ever done. My goal is usually get 2,000 points. I'm at like 2260 already, and I have a big double game week coming to go. By far the best I've ever done. My advice to everyone who is not listening is don't try at all. Spend 5 minutes Sunday night, make a transfer, forget about your team. And then, in the last few weeks, when all the double game weeks started happening, that's when you pay attention. I didn't start paying attention until game week 30, and it's the best I've ever done.
You make a mockery of everything I stand for.
But listen to Ian's podcast, because it's really good.
No, don't. Oscar's 16 points ahead of me.
Sunday night transfers, man, that was my move all season. No hits. So, anyway, there's soccer, there's Patreons. We love you guys. Adam, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ian, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Come on, Posh.
Chuck, we miss you. We love you. We hope to have you back soon.